Hold it. There we go. All right, so we're back. We're outside now. Hopefully switched over a little faster bandwidth now that we're outside of a metal cage. If you've got any questions for us, the Wynns will be joining us in just a moment as they can. They're still dealing with some fans over there. But we'll be happy to answer a few questions for you guys as well. So if you've got them, go ahead and type them in. I know some of you may have asked them earlier in the chat, but they're way, way, way down on the screen now. We probably can't access them. So go ahead and start typing in any questions that you have for us. If you're on the browser version, that's going to be the upper right-hand corner in the chat box, and you can just go ahead and type in some questions for us. Someone asked about any licensing for running your business from the road. That's going to vary by business.
By state and
by business. If you've got something that requires licensing, like medical or anything like that, you'll need to, of course, research each state that you want to license in and what the best is going to be. For ours, I mean, we have our business officially, it's an LLC registered with the state of Florida, and, we work remotely, and, we do have to keep local licenses with where we're registered, but really not too difficult.
So I've seen two questions, actually, one in the back and one just now about any mobile veterinarians out there. I think veterinarians are fairly licensed.
I think that one's by state licensure, so that might be difficult to do mobily.
But we have actually run across people who have been vet techs and who've been able to go and get temporary jobs and stuff going, with their skills being transportable.
Yeah, I don't know of any mobile vet folks that work across state lines, so I don't know what's feasible with that. Do you ever try getting work from businesses you meet while on the road? I think the Wynns do a little bit of that with their video work. We don't, because we don't really have a service that is applicable to most.
We've kind of done advising and consulting on occasion.
Yeah, so every so often we don't seek it out. Sometimes people ask, would you mind coming in and help us set up our technology or figure out what we need or give us some advice on social media strategy or something like that. So we'll take some short-term stuff every so often, but it's not something we seek out. We usually aren't. But we do know other people that do.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a service that applies to other businesses, you can go out there.
Somebody asked about gate guarding. So we've talked to some people who've done gate guarding. For those who don't know, the gate guard companies hire people to basically park someplace and check people in and out, usually in industrial areas or oil fields or things. And a busy gate might have 200 people come in and out a day, and a not so busy gate might have like 20. But you're basically there 24/7. Parked and just chilling out, and they'll provide a generator to give you power. They'll send a pump out truck and then pay you for your time, and it's good for couples because that way you get one person who's on call and one person can go about doing their other daily business, and you just chill out in some remote place. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes you're next to an oil well.
Sometimes you might have cellular signal, sometimes you might not. It is 24/7. You're expected to work around the clock. So you might not actually see your partner for a while.
But most of the time you're sitting there reading books and just hanging out, or actually hanging out in your rig, and then somebody comes by, they beep the horn, you have to go out, write down their information, and open the gate, let them in, and vice versa. So it's an interesting job. It's definitely very, they're always looking for RVers who are looking for a place to do that. It's very solitary because you can't go into town for dinner both of you at once.
And if you do need to go take time off, you actually have to hire somebody to take over your spot.
They have fill-in people that you can do, but you're basically, hiring a replacement if you both need to go do some errands and stuff. You have to go get one of their fill-in people to take over your spot. And you can do those as just like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, or months and months at a time, signing up for those gate guarding contracts.
But we've not done it ourselves. This is just, we researched it because we were considering it for a little bit, and then my dad fell ill, so we went to Florida instead that year. So someone actually had asked about if we feel guilty about being away from our aging parents while we're on the road. And actually, our lifestyle has increased our ability to be near our aging parents. We spent 3 years with Florida being our base while my father was battling cancer and helping with the caretaking. And we're with them, and with my mom until after he passed, until she was ready to, helping her set up everything and transition to life on her own. So being able to be there during that time was absolutely precious, and that's something that we might not have been able to do if we lived stationary. We wouldn't have been able to take that sort of time to move and be closer without upsetting jobs, careers, lawns, pets, things like that. We integrate in a lot of time, more time than Chris was ever able to.
When I lived in California and I had a regular corporate job, I could get a 3-day weekend visiting family, if I was lucky, once a year. Yeah, so much more quality time now that we're living on the road like this because we've got the flexibility.
Right. Someone asked what state is our LLC, and we chose Florida because we have lots of ties in Florida. So we've got, because our family's there, we're there a lot, and so Florida made the best sense for us. And the Wynns have come and joined us.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're going to take one quick photo.
Yep.
How's the bus running? It's running great. Buses being awesome, being very bussy. Vehicle wrap advertising. I think that's the idea of selling advertising space on the side of your rig. I'm imagining. I've not heard of anybody doing that. That can get tricky, particularly for an RV, because you become a commercial vehicle if you're wrapped in advertising.
Yeah, so then you have to go get a commercial driver's license. You got to go. Some campgrounds may not accept you because they don't want commercial vehicles staying in their campgrounds. You would have to then follow DOT regulations and driving records and things like that. So it gets really tricky if you try to make your vehicle too commercial.
If somebody's out there making that work, we'd love to hear the story and be able to pass it on, because that is an interesting idea. I've just never heard of anybody doing that with an RV. Do you have some other questions, or?
Yeah, are there any other questions? Keep asking them.
Well, the good thing is,
I'm kind of scrolling back a little bit. Looks like you guys had some nice chats while we were talking, and.
Okay, we'll do.
In writing a book about, I don't know what you were writing a book about because it censored it. Recommend hiring a publisher, or is it? We self-publish our books, and it's working just fine. But it really depends on how much of a reach you want. Self-publishing is becoming a lot more of a sustainable business model. Yeah. If you've got the skills and expertise, or we're hiring a graphic artist, and we might hire someone to help us with the layouts.
Hired an editor.
To do it. So, you can totally self-publish. Amazon creates some great tools, even for getting it printed with their Create Space, and there's other tools out there for self-publishing.
Yeah, and not that we've published any books, but we've sure looked into it quite a bit, and we've been to several seminars where all about self-publishing, where they're really encouraging it, because if you go with a publisher, they actually don't promote your book at all.
Yeah.
It's up to you 100%, so why give them your sales?
You lose a lot of the money, but sometimes you can get an advance if that's important to you. But we did the Indiegogo campaign to get an advance from our followers, and it took a lot of work. It was a lot of work to raise that money, but it can happen. Self-publishing there's a lot of benefits to it. Nick Russell's doing a lot of that. He actually has a self-publishing blog. He's another fellow full-time RVer. Check out the Gypsy Journal.
And as a self-published author, he made the New York Times bestseller list. So, Nick Russell is demonstrating some really, really amazing accomplishments there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We met any mobile teachers teaching online? Yes. Teaching online is fabulous as long as you've got a good internet connection.
Yep.
But yes, we've met lots of online professors that have been able to do that as a mobile
manage
career.
their classes remotely, and it's great.
And if you're looking to be an online teacher, actually joining the Full-Time Families group is kind of a good idea. It's a great way you can pick up extra tutoring hours, things like that, because they're always looking for really great resources.
And for the homeschooling for the kids on the road.
So Full-Time Families is a good resource if you are a teacher and you're looking for work. Then that's a good place to start for sure.
Yes, and even if you want to develop your own courseware, so it's not officially through a university or school, you can use things like Udemy, it's udemy.com, develop your own course material and then sell memberships to it. And then they host the videos and the content that you do. So there's even platforms for unofficial, non-credentialed teachers out there as well. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Oh gosh, lots of questions here that all have long blog posts associated with them. Would like to know if any of you have any regrets on hitting the road at such a young age. You go regret
I regret I didn't do it sooner.
Absolutely,
We waited till the ripe old age of 33, and that's about what you guys are now, right?
Yeah.
We bought our first RV at 28, and we hit the road full time, I think around 29-ish.
Yeah. Well, I was still 28.
Whatever. But no, no regrets for us. We've had a hell of a time.
Oh yeah, no regrets here. We're 8 years in, and I see no end to this.
No, absolutely.
Once you start, that's the only downside. Once you start, it's kind of hard to stop.
Yeah.
Tell yourself you're going to go on a 6-month trip. It's like the gateway drug. You'll be sucked in, and then.
Yes. Oh, you won't. And it's there's no
It's
shame.
not failure.
The key to success in life is finding what works for you. Do you recommend or not recommend a health provider for full timers? By provider, you mean a doctor? Or an insurance carrier, I'm not quite sure. We do have an article, technomadia.com/healthcare, that goes over a lot of the considerations for healthcare on the road. And there's a new resource, RVerHealthInsurance.com. Kyle Henderson, he helps RVers find the right health insurance for them, and he's a registered agent, and he's researched all this, so I highly recommend him.
And we're the absolute worst models for healthcare, and because we don't have any, we actually do not sign up for healthcare. We do not have a policy.
We just go to Mexico.
We just go to Mexico or another
if something
country.
happens, we'll just drive really quickly to Mexico.
Yeah.
Chris and I, we do have a high deductible PPO plan that's nationwide, but by the time we meet our deductible, I mean, we're basically self-funding anyway.
Yeah.
But it's there for catastrophic to keep us from, having the $1 million bankruptcy sort of thing. Chris just had a medical situation about a month ago.
Yeah, track down a local doctor.
We had to track down we went to an urgent care center to get a referral into a specialist. And it was a bit of a pain, but it worked. And we have not found a primary care physician that's mobile friendly. Or when we do find them, then they seem to quit their business and have to start over. So we've kind of gotten tired of that roulette.
Yeah, and for us, I mean, the easiest thing for us whenever I get sick, we usually find it what they call a doc in a box.
Yep.
So,
urgent care center.
Urgent care, private care,
and
CVS pharmacy.
What was that one that you can call in now?
Doctors on Demand. Somebody had referenced that.
Doctors on Demand. It's I think it's like $40, and you get a 15-minute online consultation. It could be by video or phone, and they can refer you to specialists in the area that you're at.
They can write a prescription.
They can write a prescription. So for routine stuff, Doctors on Demand is I think we'll be trying that next time we have something.
That was endorsed by the TV show Doctors.
Yeah, that's where we first learned about it. But whenever we saw it, we really thought, wow, this actually is kind of a very cool thing, because maybe there's not a great doc in the box that's close to me, or it's kind of far drive into town.
Right.
I'm not feeling that great for the common cold. That's kind of a great way to go.
Right. How do you suggest doing your mobile banking, or do you use a major bank with branches everywhere? Again, already a blog post written on that, technomadia.com/money, and it goes over a lot of the mobile banking stuff. We do use mobile banking. You guys?
Yeah, it's hard to think of a bank that isn't fully online now anymore.
Some of the credit
A lot
unions,
of
some of the
credit
callers
unions.
aren't.
Yeah, that's the only.
We prefer to use
credit union, but I don't find it renewable.
Yeah.
Unless you're USAA, if you're military, and USA is fantastic for mobile banking if you're qualified to join them, because they do cater to military who are they're nomads.
Yeah.
So if you don't qualify for USAA, we've not found a great. There's a credit union association where they're all linked together where you can do deposits at credit, but I didn't find that they were large enough, and I didn't want to go through the process of joining a credit union because most of them have requirements just to find out that their online interface sucked or something like that. So we do our business banking with Chase. They have great mobile apps.
Yeah.
We're the same.
I found Chase to be fantastic to work with. Bank of America sucked. And then we use Capital One 360 or Capital 360. It used to be ING Direct for our personal banking. It's an all online bank.
Yeah. We use Schwab for our investments and our whatever it's called when you have an investing checking account. So.
Yeah. And that's a great account. We
Plus
found
it's
Schwab
free
is
ATMs.
not nomad friendly. They will not let me have an account because we're RVers.
Really?
Yes, I'll have to give you that story later.
Sounds like fun.
Let's see. Temp work via locum tenens. Does that mean anything? Have you ever heard of a medical person, not a nurse or doctor, finding work while traveling? My wife is a unit secretary that works in a hospital. I don't know if there are.
I've heard of people who are medical transcriptionists who work remotely and do the transcription work, which is very specialized, but that can be done completely remote. I've not heard of somebody doing...
I guess temporary agencies might be a way to do fill-in work for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, even still, it's going to go through the same process as a traveling nurse would, which on Traveling Nurse Eric on our website, which is Make Money and Travel, so it's gonewiththewinds.com, and then go to the Make Money and Travel section. He's right there, and he actually lists his favorite agencies, the ones that he's found that have been the most helpful, and the ones he's enjoyed working with the most. So that's a good resource for that.
Where could I find some good resources for running a business on the road? Our blogs.
Technomadia.com.
I don't think there's a central running a business.
I think somebody should make that, but
I don't have time for it.
Yeah,
do you?
no.
It's really complicated because of taxes and
different state lines and different accreditation.
Yeah.
So it's a really complicated. You almost need running a medical business, running a consulting business, running.
Yeah. I would say the best thing you could do is find a CPA that you trust and
a small business attorney. We have a small business attorney that was mobile aware that helped us set up our business to run remote.
Yeah, there's so many rules and restrictions.
It's really dependent upon your state, where you're traveling. It's like we won't do work in California ever because you just don't want to be caught there.
Yeah.
Let's see. So someone said that they were asking about health insurance. So RVerHealthInsurance.com. Go there. He is the resource for that. We're in our early 40s, and our youngest is out of the house in the next 4 years. We would like to do the same thing. Yes, do it.
Do it. What are you waiting for?
What is the
buy the RV now. Don't buy it when they graduate and try to leave.
Yes. What is the contact info for the lady traveling and working and calculating her expenses carefully? She is Interstellar Orchard. And if you look on our on Technomadia.com, you go to our links list. She's listed under the solo RVer section, and there's a whole we have a link list to. We try to track as many full-time RVers that are working on the road on our links list. So if you go there, you'll get lots and lots of stuff. Have you heard of campsites are okay with offering services to others at their site, like cooking classes? It really depends on the campground. We've been to some where they actually encourage it. We've been to some who forbid it.
Yeah. We've seen little get-togethers once, like a weekly or monthly get-together where people get together and sell their crafts. But like they said, on the other hand, some people say you're not even allowed to put a sign up in the window.
Yeah. So always, if that's something you're trying to do, you need to call ahead to your campground and ask them what their policy is. It's a very common question. They get it all the time. There are lots of massage therapists that actually work out of their campgrounds.
Pet sitters or washing, mobile detailing.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Encore Park system, a lot of them have recreation centers at their campgrounds.
Yep.
And we've been to some of them and been invited in to do seminars at it, like doing talks on mobile internet and things like that, where we get our site for free for coming in and being entertainment. And apparently if you get in with them, you can actually run the circuit with some of their parks and actually offer classes and things like that officially to them.
Encore and Thousand Trails are owned by the same company, so once you've contacted one and worked within one campground, it's much easier to go to the next because you can reference that particular campground and that manager as you contact the next one because they know that they're all connected. So it's a good recommendation if you can find one that will let you come in and do something.
Right. Otherwise, you kind of have to do a lot of pre-research about is this campground. We've been in some like Cedar Key and Sunset Isle that we've wintered at a couple times. They actually have a bulletin board where you can post whatever you want to offer. They encourage you to set up a little vending booth at your site and to book classes in their central facility. We've had other ones just like, no, you're here to camp. Don't do anything else.
State parks and national parks especially don't expect to be selling anything.
Wynns, do you still burn?
Do we still burn? So far, the way that our schedule's worked out is we have not been able to make it back, but we're really hoping that maybe next year it will happen. We're going to come down from Alaska and maybe...
We'll end it in the Burning Man.
It's kind of early to get back to Alaska, though.
Let's see. So Chris has been doing Burning Man since 1999. I've been doing it since 2007, and we actually run a camp there for nomads called Camp Nomadia. So it's kind of a neighborhood of our full-time RVers and nomads from across the world. We've had it as large as 100 people, full-time nomads in the neighborhood. We have our tickets this year. We're not sure if we're going to go or not. We'll fill it out and see if we go this year or not. So.
Maybe we'll buy your tickets and fly out.
Yeah.
Let us know. How about RV captain and cook charters? Is that like the Adventure Caravans thing?
I've never heard of Adventure Caravans cooking, but
I mean, there are caravans that are Venture Caravans. They organize a group of RVers together. You pay to go on the tour.
And then they have what they call wagon masters who kind of lead the caravan and basically guide everybody through it. And we've met people who have been doing that for years, acting as leaders on those.
And enjoy it. So if that's something you're interested in, get in with some of those groups and see. I think they're always looking for new folks to bring new energy into them.
Right. And they're usually going crazy places like Alaska or Mexico or Baja.
Let's see. We're a Canadian couple and 3 years away from retiring and have a 34-foot Airstream. Where would you suggest be an ideal place to spend the winter months and stay warm? South.
Yeah.
The three top spots for wintering for those that want to stay warm tend to be the desert Southwest, so Southern California and Arizona, Southern Texas, and Florida.
Texas can definitely get colder than Arizona.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arizona can get
Arizona. Well, depending on where you park in Arizona.
So it really comes down to you want to experience beach weather, go to Florida. You want to experience the desert weather, go to Southwest.
If you want good Mexican food, go to Texas.
Yeah. Margaritas, Texas.
We like Lake Havasu. It's fun.
Yeah. What are some of the more unusual mobile careers you've seen in your travel? I think we just went through that.
The balloon guy.
I think, my pick is Rashid Hood. He's traveling around in a van. He used to be a restaurateur, so he used to run restaurants. And he learned tying balloon animals. And so he'll pull into a town. He'll find a restaurant. He knows how to work with restaurant management. And he'll find a restaurant that'll let him come in and tie balloon animals for the kids for tips. And that's how he funds his travels. And he's having a delightful time at it.
Oddly enough, one of our favorite people that we've run across was he was a hot dog vendor. And he was the happiest guy, which is why we got into conversation with him. And he would travel around and he had a little cart and he made gourmet hot dogs.
So do you have to deal with health regulations and food certifications?
He works for a company.
He works for a company that handled it.
Yeah.
But he loved it. He was like, this is like the simplest job in the world. He's like, people are happy. I hand them a hot dog. It's fun. And he was so happy.
Let's see.
And oddly made really good money for being a hot dog vendor. And we
Would you ever rent out your RV?
No.
No one else is driving my bus.
There's too much that could go wrong, and then insurance, especially ours, because it's under my company. It would be
the insurance doesn't really allow for it. It turns the RV from personal to commercial use.
Absolutely. So renting out, no. Although I do know people that have done it, especially for Burning Man, they were willing. But I have heard of a lot of people that do RV swaps. And that's totally different. That's just like a house swap. So.
Yep. All right. Fingers crossed. Have you ever thought about a reality show?
We're too happy for reality TV. That's what we're told over and over, is that people don't want to see happy people. They want to see drama, and they want swamp people and drama. And that's
swamp drama.
We don't offer drama.
Yeah, we've been approached by about 3 reality shows, and I'm like, oh no, really, it's not that exciting to watch us sit around on our computers and catering to the cats. That's how exciting our life is. It's really not as exciting as people think it is. I think sometimes there's just a romanticized version of what the RV lifestyle is.
This reality TV is so intrusive to have it.
It's not real life, and it's intrusive to our lives. And I prefer to share what I want to share when I want to share.
It changes your whole trip.
It changes your whole trip, and that was the thing we found with a few people that have contacted us about doing a reality show or a television show, is that we now are on their itinerary. They coach us in what we need to say, what we want to do, and the reactions, and asking us to be more dramatic than we really are, and that's just not our thing.
It's not fun.
Maybe a documentary if somebody was truly inspired by a story and they wanted to come out and spend 6 months with us and travel behind us and shoot our whole adventure. That can be kind of cool.
I've been more like, you want to film us for a day, but
one day. Maybe 2.
We have done that. We have done a documentary before.
Yeah. And we had Dutch television come out and film us for a day.
It's like, fine, I can do a day. But no, intruding on my life. I like my privacy. I like my time. I like to not worry about putting on a robe in the morning. Do Nikki and Jason still want to go sailing?
Yes.
And so do Technomadia, by the way.
Boats are in the future.
Yeah, still like your composting toilet, like since you did your video 3 days ago.
This is number 1 session here.
Number 1. Talking about number 1.
Yes, we love our composting toilet. Sailing is in the future, probably about a year to year and a half out.
Yeah, we're trying to change the RV industry from the inside out, and if that doesn't work, then we'll have to sailboat sooner.
Yeah.
And if we can actually make an impact, then we'll stick around for a little bit longer.
Let's see. How do you deal with pets if you need to fly somewhere or drive away in your car and cannot get back in time to let them out?
Pet sitters.
Pet sitters.
They're and actually in RV parks they're very easy to find usually.
When we went to Burning Man, we went to Coachella, when we went to Sasquatch, these are all camping festivals.
You can't bring pets.
You can't bring pets.
Or even if you could, it would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So anytime we know that we're going to be super intense with work or fun or somewhere where the weather is not going to be very unpredictable, we don't have heating and cooling options or something like that, we always board them.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
And there's a new app out. I forget the name of it. It actually helps you find local pet sitters. So it's kind of a on there. And
it's like an Uber for pet
yeah,
sitters.
yeah.
I've heard about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, the Snows
You can
used
rate them
it
and stuff,
when they went down to an RV show in Tampa when we were staying with them in
Yeah,
Cedar Key.
and I can't remember the name
I
of
can't
the
remember
app.
the name of it. But there's, I bet if you just use the keywords pet sitting, you'll find it. And they're able to contract a pet sitter through there for the day because they wanted to go attend this show and they have 3 dogs.
Yep.
So they just drop the dogs off at a local pet sitter for the day, pick them up on the way home. They have a great experience with it.
We usually find we search very hard and we find a good cat place because we have 2 cats. And it has to have outside time where they get to roam free. And it's been surprisingly easy to find in all of the situations we've needed it. We're pretty fortunate in that aspect. So it is more common than one might think.
Right. Let's see.
Maybe our sign.
That might be it.
Yeah, so we got an air conditioner that just went off. Let's see. My husband and I are 29 and 26. What do you suggest for the first step in making our way to the RV lifestyle?
Pick a date.
Pick a date.
Pick a date.
Pick a rig.
No, pick a date.
That forces you to pick a rig. Pick a date,
And
call your landlord, give you notice, and then you have the heat is on.
I guess that's true. We did have a date. We had a specific date when our lease was up.
But don't buy an RV and just assume you're going to hit the road because things are going to happen. You need to have it for a few months before you really start traveling.
There you go.
Well, no, you can just be in one area. Don't plan on. Don't give yourself an absolute schedule for your first 3 or 4 months because that's your shakedown time. So don't plan on, we're hitting these 5 festivals that we've already bought tickets to because stuff happens.
I mean, you can wing it. Nothing's wrong with that.
Sometimes you put everything, like your grills and chairs and stuff, back in the RV every night. I leave ours out. We've left ours out all week. It's too much work to put it back. I figure if someone steals it, it's just a chair. All right, so someone's got some other questions, some pretty long ones. What notes do the Wynns have comparing benefits of a vintage bus versus the traditional RV?
Personal style. I mean, the RV industry, as of right this moment, if you were to buy an RV, most of them are not that cool on the inside. They're really tacky, gaudy fabrics on the inside. They're not our favorite interior, so it's hard to personalize it. So the advantage of going with something vintage is cool factor. They're just cool. But you pay less money for it, a shell, buy something affordable and then rip everything out and you completely make it your own. That's very tempting for me a lot of times. But Jason
I'm not much of a handyman,
very
so.
much of a handyman, yeah. So we prefer to go with something new that we don't have to bother with, work on, or anything else.
And we went vintage mainly because we wanted a nice dual desk setup, and there's no RV manufacturer that offers it.
And we like the cool and unique side, and something we can play with.
Yeah, a story.
Yeah. So for those of you that are experiencing the commercials and not hearing the answers, we are in a free Ustream account. It would cost us $99 a month to get rid of them. If you missed your question, just catch this. There'll be a YouTube archive of this. Just please catch it later. For new bloggers like myself, how do you build your audience? Great content.
Yeah.
Write what you want to write about what inspires you, and that will.
Don't think about anything else. You have to just truly write about your life and remember that the little things that you find mundane and boring are not boring to other people.
We didn't know what a blog was when we started. We barely do any sort of SEO. We just film what we want to film and share what we want to share, and it's worked out for us.
Yeah, same for us. We do have we did a video chat about 2 months ago called Blogging for RVers. You'll find that on YouTube on our channel, and it was like a chat like this where we did with actually some WordPress experts who give their information as well. So there's some information there that might be a good follow-on video for folks to go on and do. When wild camping, do you venture far from your RV and your park?
Absolutely. I mean, that's our base camp, and we'll leave it for 8-10 hours at a time, no problem. We're way out there. There's nobody else out there. We lock the rig. That's actually one time where we do put expensive things away. Like we have a really nice, like my induction cooktop, I'll put that back inside. But our table and chairs, we leave them out. We haven't ever had any issues, so we feel safe, and that's what we do.
Questions with the four of us being so popular?
Yay, thanks.
Yeah, we're popular. Yay. Do we find it difficult to stay at campgrounds and still maintain our privacy?
Sometimes. The 9 a.m. knocks are not good.
Yeah. We're full-time RVers, and we work from our rig, so a lot of times we stay up really late working. So an 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. knock on a door is kind of early for us. I know most people are actually already at their offices, but for us, that's early.
Right. We've had that happen. We're at a campground. What happened this week here, but we're at a RV rally, kind of expected, but we're at a state park a couple weeks ago. And we actually saw someone knock on our door at 9 a.m. We had our sign up that says "Do Not Disturb." We had the curtains pulled in the front. We're still in bed. They knock on the door. Chris puts his head out the window and asks, "Yes? Oh, can we get a tour of your bus?" Like, that's just not cool, guys.
Send us an email saying, "Hey, we're in the same campground. You want to get together?" And we'll say, "Hey, this evening at 7, we're going to be free. Swing on by." And that's great, you know.
In our village, we've had several people say, "Hey, I noticed you're in the same campground. Can we get together?" And we're like, it's a great way to just schedule a quick meetup. And then I know where you are, you know where I am, and it's easy.
Yeah, if we're out and about, come up and say hi. But, I mean, really, there's no reason to go up into a campground and knock on a closed door. It's not good etiquette.
You're going to kick them out.
Yeah, that's not good etiquette, regardless if you're a blogger or not.
Or if my car's on fire, or...
There better be an emergency. If there's an emergency, knock on the door. But asking for tours of people's houses, I mean, you don't do that in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Unless there's a for sale sign on the front.
Right.
Yeah, these are our homes. So don't do that.
But if you need to see the composting toilets, we understand.
Yeah. Let's see. Campground crime, a concern?
No, I've heard of very few people that have ever had an issue, regardless whether they were in a campground, whether they were in a Walmart parking lot, or whatever the case may be. I've heard maybe 3 stories out of hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people that have asked that question to. I almost always get the response of, no, in 15 years of full-time travel, in 10 years of full-time travel, we've never felt uncomfortable or had an issue. So that speaks volumes about...
Yeah, you compare that to any other neighborhood across America. What's the crime rate there? Because when you have wheels under your house, if you pull into a campground and it doesn't feel right, you can move.
Yeah.
You can move on. Without having to go through escrow.
Yeah.
So we got some questions about firearms. Is that something you guys are addressing?
We always say that no, we don't carry firearms, but
we really thought about it in the beginning, and it became too complicated.
And the thing is for us that's a fine question to answer. It's not, we don't have anything against it. I don't care if you carry one. It's too complicated of a thing to carry around and to deal with the laws and this, that, and the other. So for us, it just doesn't make sense, and we just never feel the need for one. I never had one when I lived in home. I don't travel with one. If you don't go looking for trouble, you don't typically find it, is our mantra. And if you ask a lot of other RVers that question, they'll tell you they're just not going to answer because they don't want you to know whether they do or don't, and it's kind of a personal thing, but we're happy to answer.
And the research we did, actually tasers are legal in more states than firearms, which I thought was pretty crazy. And if you're going to buy a firearm for an RV, something like the Judge would be a good option because it actually shoots a shotgun shell, so it sprays and it won't pierce through 2 or 3 RVs and end up killing somebody because the RV walls are this thick.
That's my biggest fear about RVers, because a firearm is more likely going to be discharged in a way in which it wasn't intended.
Yep.
Not for self-protection, but because someone's spooked or drunk or having an accident or something like that. And in an RV park, I mean, that could affect 5 or 6 other households really quickly and get out of hand. And I don't feel like I want the responsibility of that, of carrying one. I could live with myself as something. I could imagine more scenarios where things go wrong than what would actually help the situation. So I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm trained. I had a concealed weapons license. I've gone to training. I'm a spot-on shot. I'm not against firearms, but I have never felt comfortable owning one. I think it's fun to go shoot on a range.
And we've done the same thing as we travel. We meet up with people who have them and we go. But for us, actually, one of the best things we were ever gifted was a guy in Denver gave us a big old heavy Maglite flashlight. He said, "I noticed you don't have one of these, and it's a great one. It's a flashlight that works really well, but 2, it's a source, it's a weapon, it's something that you can use to break a window if you're trapped somewhere." He's like, you can plunk somebody on the head if you need to. I mean, it works for a variety of purposes, and it is heavy duty. And I thought, that's like the greatest.
It also had a really super bright pulsing mode. He said, shine that in somebody's eye. Blow an air horn.
They'll be disoriented. The other thing the advice that we were given was wasp spray. It's got a 25-30 foot range. It's going to be enough to take someone or an animal that might be approaching or threatening you, enough to get stuff in their eyes and make them disorient them so that you can run for help or get to a different situation. But we're not against people. Just be trained, know what you're doing, and know that you feel comfortable doing so. So I think we're getting to the end here. And we've been talking for 2 hours, and they have another presentation. We have a new one too, so we need to get going. So thank you guys for joining us. It's always fun co-hosting. Thank you guys for doing this.
Thanks for doing it. It was fun talking.
First joint broadcast.
Our first Ustream ever.
I know, our first Ustream ever.
So if you're Wynns fans and stuff like that, of course, you know where they are. We're Technomadia.com, and we do host these video chats about once a month, and we pick a topic and do Q&A. So we hope that you'll come join us. We do announce them. We have an email list on the blog. We're going to say goodbye, and thank you for joining us this morning. Have a great day.
And this will be archived, YouTube.
This will all be on